I told you before, I grew up with my dad. My dad raised me and my brother. And my older brother, is there any older brothers here? Yeah, there's some of you. Yeah, you're probably terrible, awful human beings. Older brothers are the worst people on earth. And we would fight all the time when we were kids. Like, we would come home from school, fight, dinner, fight, jammies. That's how we threw down. And my brother was older than me, right? So he's bigger and stronger, so he could always win. But he wasn't content to just, like, merely win in a fight, because he's an older brother, a diabolical, like, James Bond villain. So he'd, like, put my head in a closet door and slam it and then giggle. Or, like, we'd be in the basement, he'd hit me with a fire poker. You know, kid stuff. And my dad never cared. My dad never cared because we only had two firm stated rules in our house growing up. No punching in the back and don't block the TV. That's it. For my whole life. And I was just like, think we had a couple more rules, Dad, so I survived childhood? Nope, you'll be fine. Maybe a rule about touching a hot stove? You'll figure that out. Maybe a rule about getting into a white van? Well, there's a mistake you only make once. Guess we'll go ahead and raise ourselves then, Dad. Although the no punching in the back thing was handy for me because my brother's favorite move is called the Falcon, where he just punched me right between the shoulder blades and I go, so much. But we were kids, man. So, you know, like when you're like young boys, man, they're just obsessed with like army things. Like we were always like training for the revolution. You know, we're just like, you know, fighting. And we tried to build a zip line once in our backyard to help with our training. And but we didn't have a command of the scientific principles necessary to build a zip line. We had two trees in our backyard, and we didn't understand, for instance, the concept of friction. So we found an extension cord in a field, and we thought, perfect. Tried to hang it between the trees, but we didn't understand the concept of tautness, so it just hung like a laundry line between the two trees. Me and my brother are standing up in our little tree fort stand, 10 feet up in the air, and he looks over at me, and he's like, you're going first. And I was like, cool, what an honor. And then I took a t-shirt and wrapped it around an extension cord and leapt out of the tree, expecting to zip to the other side of the yard, and it didn't even break my fall. I just hit the ground. My brother leans over and he's like, idiot. You did it wrong. And then he did the exact same thing right after me. He landed right on top of me, just two junior Galileos experimenting with gravity.